the first nullification event of our American history was Declaration of Independence. We nullified our contract with Great Britain.
In essence, the Constitution nullified the Articles of
Confederation.
Confederation.
Yeah, it was a coup.
It was a coup.
And another thing is, talking about nullification, Glenn Bradley introduced a bill, I think it was 982, was the anti-NDAA resolution into the General Assembly back in February. They also introduced another one, the Agenda 21, 983. It never got out of committee, but the fact is, Stuart Rhodes came in on his own time, his own money, came here to educate our legislators as to nullification and the NDAA. They held it in a conference room right in their legislative building. 4 showed up. This is our legislators. You would think they would take the time to educate, and especially on something important like the NDAA, which you know, impinges on a lot of our Bill of Rights and Agenda 21. 4 showed up. 2 of them were co-sponsors. They knew. They didn't really need to be educated. They just wanted to see Stuart Rhodes. Because no one showed up the first day, Stuart stayed on for the second day to do the same thing. Tea Partiers and other, you know, grassroots people showed up. Legislators, again, did not. So when you talk to your legislators, ask them why they didn't show up, and you know, and that kind of stuff.
Well,
Maybe
that afternoon, in my office, we had 70 people show up, and 4 legislators showed up.
We have empowered a class of people who believe they are above all of us. That is what the problem is. These people that we continually elect and send back for whatever reason, and God only knows why, they have come to believe that they are not vulnerable, they are above us, they are the elites, and their worldview is what we need to follow regardless of what we think. That's why they all need to go.
I think to my perspective would be to advance the discussion about this. At the national level, this is, if you go to founderstruth.org, you can search New York Times, the article will come up, I put it up there, that the New York Times has admitted what a lot of people suspected. No one gets access to President Obama in the press corps unless you agree to have your stories edited. And it's the same thing with Governor Willard and Mitt Romney. At the local level, someone like Skip Stem or Tom Tillis doesn't have that power, but all they do is attempt to marginalize you. Someone came up to Mr. Tillis and asked him about nullification. I believe that person was chastised after the meeting in Charlotte, just because they asked a question. I've gone to Mr. Stem. No joke, I've made some before at his expense today. This is a serious comment. That's a qualification. But Skip Stem will not answer a simple question about, show me where we don't have power to nullify anything. I put in his hands, I gave him a copy of a model resolution to nullify the indefinite detention provisions of the NDAA. He said he'd read it. But this is where we've come to, as far as the discourse, to follow what Dr. Dan said with people that are elected. They don't even believe they have to answer our questions. And it's part of what we can do is just get this word out. You may think so-and-so, whoever it is a nice person. Do you really want to continue to vote for someone that thinks, in essence, that they have no accountability to you, to the people?
Yeah, this is nothing personal. I don't ever want to attack any person, character, and this is just a job description. Just a job description. It has nothing to do with anything else, because we all have a bunch of crap in our life. That's not what this is about. There's no perfect human being, right? So it's just, are we going to follow the rule of law? And that's what our founders, I really believe, were something different. They looked at the human nature. They looked at the structure of how we protect the human nature, knowing human nature, protect the individual. And that's why it's important to have diverse power. Now we really are concentrated. And it's so concentrated, we have this oligarchy. But I keep on going back, these wonderful laws that are all great for the plebes, but they exempt themselves. How great are they? It's like we're voting ourselves into the concentration camps, you know. Talked about when the Japanese, 130,000, lost their life, their property, everything, never got back. And all because they were Americans and looked a little bit different.